Cyril Ramaphosa is using. Cyril Ramaphosa is using media to campaign for the African National Congress. If you'll remember quite well, he used SABC platform and other respective traditional media platforms like newsrooms and what's not and so forth to say he's addressing the nation, only to find in concealed purpose, in disguised purpose, he's been campaigning for the ANC and discrediting and dismantling other political organization. But this was very strategical. It was very concealed. It was disguised in the name of, or under this label of, addressing the nation. Totally wrong. Totally wrong. Charges should be laid against that conduct of Cyril Ramaphosa, because according to policies, it doesn't allow to use social media platforms, to campaign, especially in the name of you address the nation only if there were points that were raised in parliament. Therefore, automatically, as time progresses, you need to update, maybe have a press conference. You should get consentment. You should be granted by the parliamentary members to have that agreement that, okay, the president should do 1, 2, and 3. So it is patently absurd and grossly unfair. There is quite a lot of disparity there to other political organizations like UDM, Freedom Front Plus, EFF, MK. The list is countless. It is totally unfair for Cyril Ramaphosa to use traditional media platforms, to decampaign other rivals, political parties, these minor, still growing political parties, to use traditional media like that in the name of addressing the nation while decampaigning these minor political parties that are still constantly growing. It is totally unfair and patently absurd. This is corruption on its core. It should be reprimanded. It should be rebuked. We shouldn't allow such instances in future. It is totally not allowed, especially in this so-called democratic country that we live in. That was not democratic at some point, somewhere, somehow. That action of exercising that right, it was just an act of dictatorship as a governing political organization to use advantage over other political parties in the name of addressing the nation, that is disguised in campaigning for the party. That was totalitarian. That was authoritarian. That was in the form of dictatorship. There is dictatorship disguised in this so-called democratic Christmas of this country that we live in, and which is still in question. That was not democratic. Even this democracy, we still have things to pin and point, some little bit of components and segments that does not tantamount to this democracy. But anyway, we were not there while they were constituting and legislating this constitution. So as much as we might have some grounds of disputes, unsatisfactory, we see some little bit of discrepancy, because there was a discrepancy and disparity amongst other political parties. So it was totally wrong. Cyril Ramaphosa was not supposed to do so. He must go to court for that, because it is not part of our constitution. So we will help Cyril Ramaphosa how this country should be ran in a prominent way under this umbrella called democracy, which is still in question. So it was totally unfair and grossly unfair. I wouldn't lie to you. I'm just going to be very candid with you, whether you like it or not. Everybody saw that was just a strategic concoct, to campaign for the ANC, and automatically that puts you in an advantage than as compared to other political parties who were not given those platforms, you know. And there is still a concern here. There is something which is still fishy. Something is beating water here. There is an interview that has been taking place, I think, 2 to 3 days ago. SABC interviewed Jacob Zuma, but they haven't yet released or published that interview on TV or either on radio. We just see minor clips of it on social media, like these things like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We see minor clips. The full package of that interview has not been published on media. That is another undemocratic. Why don't you release that? What was the purpose for you to interview Msholozi? So the ANC, they are still concocting this element of political engineering to resent Jacob Zuma, to underestimate Jacob Zuma, to put shame on Jacob Zuma, to try, to impose things that will decimate Jacob Zuma. But I'm glad he is still standing. He is strong. There was also an incident whereby Jacob Zuma, I don't know, was just traveling with his random campaigns, as he is still, abrupt, campaigning for the MK, Umkhonto weSizwe. So while in the middle of his travel to wherever he went to campaign, he was involved in a car accident. And it seems like the security, they didn't do their job properly. At some point, somewhere, somehow, the safety of the former president should be asked on Begicele, because I think it was very intentional, to collide. He was involved in a car accident. And through assessments and very close observation, it is found that this was also part of a concoct that is trajected by the ANC to destroy Msholozi, because they cannot handle him anymore. He is defeating them in all shape or in all ways. They've been trying to take him to court, what's not, and so forth, wherever the case may be. But Msholozi, it seems like, rather than to fall, they push him higher. He is ascending. He is going higher and higher. Victory from another victory, another victory. Courts there. IEC. Msholozi so far is winning. So the ANC, they are playing a defense. They are playing half ground. The MK is just chasing after their ass like nobody's business. It is what it is, whether we like it or not. This is the kind of the environment that we live under. Politics will never be fair. There will always be discrepancy. There will be always disparity. There will always be democracy and no democracy to suit certain narratives. There will be some little bit of oppression. Some people will be taken advantage of. There will be a rampant of corruption. The trains have been rotten. Ramaphosa killed PRASA. There is no longer Transnet in our country. All of these employees who were able to bring bread on the table, they are no longer going to be able to do so because Transnet is dead. Transnet is destroyed. What about all of these PRASA workers? What are they going to do? These are all of our grounds of disputes, trying to vent, to lash out. It's fine if some other people who are clever can gloat over this, but this is serious, guys.